This movie is from the creative team of Barbarian. Barbarian was one of my favorite movies of 2023, so sign me up. I'm fully on board with this film. What's up, you guys? It's Jonathan Carter, and today we are going to be talking about Companion.
I'm Josh.
I'm Iris.
Like I said right at the top of this video, this movie is from the creative team of Barbarian. Barbarian was one of my not even favorite horror movies of 2023, but one of my favorite movies of that year in general. I thought it was so refreshingly creative. Definitely took the horror genre, the comedy genre, blended it very well. And also, what was so great about that movie is that it genuinely kept you guessing at every single turn. And just when you thought that you knew what was going to happen, something else like completely comes up, throws you for a curveball. And it's really, from the start of that movie, without seeing it, it's kind of impossible to guess where that film is gonna go. And so with the same creative team behind that movie making Companion, how refreshing Barbarian was, I saw this, and also Sophie Thatcher in the lead role. I think she's an incredible actor. Everything she's been in, she really stands out. She's one of these new up-and-coming actors that if she's in something, I'm gonna go check it out because I think she's great in everything. Yellow Jackets, Boogeyman. I missed Heretic last year, but I heard that she was fantastic in that as well. Getting into this review a little bit early, she didn't disappoint here. So with my excitement for this film, I am also a little late seeing it. I was traveling over the weekend. I wasn't able to see the movie when it came out, so my review is a little bit late. With that being said, please be sure to like and subscribe before we jump into this review. And with that being said, without further ado, let's jump into the review. So, just like Barbarian, where Companion starts, you really have no idea where the movie is actually going to go. You think you do, like, the movie is very good at giving you just enough information, just like Barbarian, where you think, okay, I see the plot, like, it's gonna be this, and it sets up an incredibly interesting premise, an incredibly interesting plot, like, right from the opening seconds of the movie. But also, like Barbarian, where the story actually goes, you can't guess just from the opening of the movie. There are so many, again, just like Barbarian, refreshing themes and ideas in this movie. The way that Companion blends its comedy and horror. It's not outright a comedy and it's not outright a horror film. It's a perfect blend of those two. I don't necessarily see it as like the perfect date night kind of movie, like it's being marketed as, but it is genuinely interesting and it blends those genres very artfully, very well. Like I said also before we jumped into this, Sophie Thatcher is incredible here. She plays the lead character, Iris. Again, I'm not going to get into spoilers here, but it was giving away in the trailer and in the marketing, and I'm sure we've seen the movie by now. She is a robot. She is a robot used basically for sex, but kind of turned into more an emotional support for Jack Quaid's character. And these themes explored in this movie of what it really tackles of kind of emotional abuse that not even just a lot of men, but like a lot of people can prey on in relationships. A lot of people either get into relationships when they're just not emotionally ready to be in them. They're emotionally vacant. But also a lot of people jump into relationships for the status of power it can give you over somebody, to abuse them in that sense, mentally, emotionally, maybe even physically. And Companion is not afraid to explore those themes, and it also flips it where you're like, it's what happens in the movie you are very satisfied with. It's a very like powerful, you're like, yes girl, do that. And just this like premise, this plot of robots used for sex turned into just emotional support for these people in a relationship that are not emotionally available, that just want the power over somebody, and taking that and then giving a robot the power, putting them, switching it. Essentially, a lot of Companion is a theme movie message about respecting yourself, knowing that you have power, that you don't need to depend on anybody. It really just is like a film of escaping out of an emotionally damaging, abusive relationship. But unfortunately, it's not all great here. With an interesting premise, especially like introduced in the first part of the movie. The first part, second part, all good. It's a very solid 2/3 of a movie. It is very funny. It is very interesting. You're not going to get bored. But that last third, the finale, really does kind of fall apart. So speaking about Barbarian earlier, that movie was so interesting because a lot of the choices made in that movie were not dumb choices. Like Justin Long was in an interview saying that he accepted that script, he wanted to be in the movie because the characters in that film didn't just go stupid horror trope of like not calling the police or not running away or whatever, like to advance the plot forward, which was so inventive and refreshing about Barbarian. And unfortunately, by the third act of this movie, that's kind of completely gone. I mean, you have main characters here and also like side characters and just newly introduced characters in the third act that just make the dumbest decisions to just get to the next plot point, like to keep the movie moving forward. And that is really upsetting on its own, but also so upsetting because, like I said, Barbarian didn't have that. It avoided that for the most part, and this movie doesn't. And also with that, the third act does start to drag, and I think it could have been wrapped up like 10 minutes prior to the end of the movie. So while I do enjoy the first 2/3 of this movie, it is a rather lackluster third last finale of the film that does not stick the landing, and it almost like there is a severe drop in quality here between this first, second, and then the third part of the film, which is really rather unfortunate to see because, like I said, the beginning of the movie is very interesting. It's also a very intelligent view on these emotional abusive relationships and being emotionally vacant in a relationship, and then it just evolves into characters making dumb decisions after dumb decisions to get the plot forward. And also, it's not really a satisfying finale. So, all that being said, I was hoping to go a little more positive on this movie. I was hoping to enjoy it a little more. Unfortunately, I'm pretty mixed on it. I'm going to give Companion a 6.5 out of 10. And on a see it, stream it, or skip it, stream it. It's not the great follow-up to Barbarian that I wanted it to be. It's also nowhere near like being a bad movie. It's just right there in the middle of a real mixed bag. Sophie Thatcher is incredible here. Jack Quaid is kind of playing a character he kind of plays pretty often, so whatever with that. But Sophie Thatcher's phenomenal. All that being said, let me know your thoughts on Companion in the comments. Do you prefer this over Barbarian? Do you prefer Barbarian over Companion? Let me know your thoughts on it all below in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on my review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all on the next one.